Hello everybody, and now official welcome to all of you to our webinar on crowdfunding. My name is Tanya Katzbert, and I'm happy to be moderator of this meeting. I hope that you all can hear me, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to say that this is our first time we are doing the webinar, and this is our first time we are doing it together in collaboration with another organization, our partner, Youth Bank International. So this webinar was the idea of YEPPIRC. We're located at the Institute of Community Education at International Academy in Berlin, and Youth Bank International, who's sitting in Belfast. And a few technical instructions, maybe before we all go further on air. If you just logged in, could we ask you to please mute yourself in a way that you click on your mic and then you click on it until the mic is crossed, so that we have only one person speaking at once. Okay, so in this case it's me now, and there'll be further speakers who will turn on their mic. Okay, so for example, Vernon, I hope you hear me. And please, could you mute yourself? And the same goes for the others. So this is a very important step to ensure that everything goes smoothly. Okay? About this webinar and about the audience. Well, first of all, I want to say that we have received registrations from more than 40 people. We have currently 22 online, and the interest was spreading from Tunisia over Europe.
All attendees are muted.
South Africa. And we are very happy that you're all here. I also want to say a few words about this topic, crowdfunding. So why crowdfunding? Well, you all probably know that it's a very popular fundraising tool for organizations who want to promote and get funds for their project and campaigns. And in the recent times, crowdfunding is indeed seen as an alternative to usual funding schemes.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Internet, and you engage the online audience to support your idea. There are various forms of crowdfunding platforms. I've seen the report where it says that it's 500 platforms currently active worldwide, and there's thousands of projects being there and millions of euro invested in these projects. You have social projects, you have artist projects, and also you can use these platforms for investing even into a company and becoming a shareholder. However, today we want to focus on one very special platform, which is called Better Place. And we want to present you this platform, this one example. What is the platform like? Why is it so popular? Because this is the most popular platform in Germany. And then we will present you people who come from our networks, who launch their campaigns using crowdfunding tools, and they will tell you their stories, how they did it, what they experienced, did it work for them, did it not, and then they also give you the tips how you can launch your successful crowdfunding campaign based on the experience. So this is basically the plan for this 1 hour. It's called 45 Ways to Crowdfunding in 45 Minutes, because we have 4 speakers, and each of the speakers has 10-minute slot to present the idea. We will have 2 rounds of questions. And now for the audience, what is important is that you can use your chat, which I see you guys already doing it. Yes. Hi to everybody who wrote something. So when you listen to a presenter and when you have the question, please use the chat function so that we collect the questions and then address it in the 2 rounds. We have to see how many questions we will have. We might not be able to answer to all the questions, given that we only have 1 hour. However, we will try to do our best and just see how it goes. So now I want you to see the speakers of today, and I want all the speakers, 4 speakers, just to turn on their cameras and wink to the audience and say hello. And these are Christina Wegener from betterplace.org, who's gonna be the first speaker. She's smiling and saying hi. Then we will have Jochen Schell from YEPPIRC director, also saying hi. And then we will have Edel Moen from Youth Bank Ireland, who will talk about her crowdfunding campaign. And then we have Emir from Tuzla, who will say about crowdfunding and not crowdfunding, and how they launched their successful project using other creative tools. So yes, thank you all the speakers for being here. And we will start now with the first speaker, who is Christina from betterplace.org. And I'm gonna give you the floor and ask you to unmute yourself, and all the others are disappearing in ether. So please, Christina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here with you. And yeah, I'm from betterplace.org, and I have 10 minutes to explain you what betterplace.org is and why it's a good idea to actually use it. I hope the audio is okay. If not, please tell me. And am I able to switch to the slides myself, or how does it work actually?
Yes, Christina, you can switch your slides. Just press on next.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's me. I've been working for Better Place for 5 years now in the team projects and organizations. We coach projects how to use the platform, and we give workshops and webinars. Yeah, so that's my team. I kind of have a difficulty with the switching of the slides. So is it with the arrows or? Okay, so I just have to wait. Okay, great. So I have 3 slots I want to talk to you about. The first is what is betterplace.org, why betterplace.org, and 3 tips to how to realize a successful fundraising campaign. It's quite a bit for only 10 minutes, but I think we should manage. So betterplace.org is Germany's, I'm still waiting for the slide, sorry, yeah. So betterplace.org is Germany's largest donation platform. We're a nonprofit ourselves. We're based in Berlin, and so far we have over 15,000 projects using our online fundraising tools. And since our start in 2007, so far we've been able to forward over 25 million euros to social projects all over the world, basically. I have to say that Better Place is an online donation platform, therefore it's only for social projects. So it's not strictly a crowdfunding project. You're not able to realize any profit projects with Better Place. It's only for social projects. And we have 2 main user groups. So one of our main user group, of course, are social projects all around the world. And the second one are donors who want to support a project with a time donation or a money donation, and they're looking for a project because they don't know yet what kind of project they would like to support. So they can go on betterplace.org and look for their favorite one in a certain region or regarding a certain topic, of course. The great thing about Better Place is that all kinds of social projects can use it. Of course, we have a lot of big organizations that use it, like so next slide would be great. Yeah. So we have a lot of different projects that use betterplace.org. We do have a lot of big organizations, like this example, the German Red Cross, that use it. The big organizations use us as one fundraising channel. Of course, they have really professional fundraisers that have many different channels of fundraising, but they use us mainly to get in touch with a younger donor group. So the average donor on betterplace.org is 38 years old. In comparison to the general donor market, I'd say it's very, very young. The general donor in Germany is over 65 years old. So we do reach a different target group, which is interesting for big organizations too. But Better Place is mainly built for smaller projects that don't have a big budget to program their own fundraising tools, that don't have so many resources, and they can use us too, of course. We are open to organizations that are registered as a non-profit in Germany, but we are also open to private initiatives that realize a social cause. Hold on, I'm still waiting for the next slide. Yeah. So there are not only big organizations who use betterplace.org, but also a lot of private initiatives. So here you can see a private initiative for helping refugees. This has been, of course, a big topic also on the platform, and there are a lot of private initiatives who are not registered as a nonprofit, who want to help and who can use the platform betterplace.org to create a project profile page. That's the page you see right now, and to fundraise money to help people. So this is how it works. You can easily just create a project profile page on betterplace.org. You only need a picture, a description. You can see it here, and you can basically start right away. And you can see on the project profile page how many donors have already donated to the project. You can see how many, the percentage of the money that has been already funded, and you can see how much money is still missing. And you have the Donate Now button, and the so-called needs of the project. That's how Better Place works, that every project has to define a certain needs, which means they have to explain exactly what the money will be used for. So for maybe for school books, or for to build a fountain in Kenya or whatever, they have to define exactly what the money, the donations are used for. And they also have to, I'm still waiting for the next slide. They also have to write news about the project progress. They have you see on the second tab, they have a kind of blog they're supposed to use, and in that blog they describe what has been done with the donations, how the project progress is working out. They can and should upload pictures and maybe a video, and so the donor who gives money to that project will be will get a regular update about how the project is progressing. So that's our main concern. One of our main concerns is also to bring more transparency into the social sector, so the donor actually knows exactly what the money is used for. And in the second tab, you have the list of donors and opinions. it's a list of all the people who have donated to the projects. They can leave a commentary. They can also, if they visited the project, write about their visit to the project and let other people know what they think about it. So this is also something very special about Better Place, that you have a kind of a community approach, so people can actually read and see what other people think about the projects. So that's the main features of our project profile page, the one that your project will have once you registered at betterplace.org. And we also offer tools for your own homepage, if you have one, that you can and should use if you do online fundraising. It's a donation form that you see here. It's a donation form that can be adapted. You can change the color. You can change the sum of the donation. You can the donor can decide if he wants to donate only once, or if it should be a recurring donation. And you can also use it on Facebook if you have a Facebook fan page, for example. So this is a tool that's very important, and that's very useful, that we tell every project to use, because it's great to give that opportunity to a donor to go to your homepage and give the opportunity to the donor to donate directly on your page. We also have another tool. It's called the project widget. The two guys who created that project profile page for the refugees, they included it in their homepage. It's a widget that links to the project profile page on Facebook. Projects like it because it's it's more visual somehow, because you can see the picture and the title of the project. It depends on you what kind you prefer. We recommend the donation form, but of course you can also use this one. So that are just some of the tools we offer for social projects that use betterplace.org. The next slot is about why betterplace.org. We actually forward 100% of all the donations to the projects, which means that we don't finance ourselves through donations through a certain percentage, but we have a different business model. So if a person donates 50 euros to your project, those 50 euros get forwarded to your projects. We don't take any percentage of that. We can do that because we have, as I said, a different business model. We have companies who work with us, who realize their corporate social responsibility projects with us, and that's our main income, and that gives us the possibility to offer all the fundraising tools we create for social projects for free, actually. So everything, all the service, all the tools, everything we work on and program is completely for free for social projects, which of course we think it's great, and we think it's the way it's supposed to be, actually. So another thing is that we offer different payment methods. So if you use betterplace.org, you have of course the possibility to pay with credit card or PayPal. PayPal is a payment method that's really popular among younger people. So we definitely recommend to have that. And if you're an NPO registered in Germany, we also offer direct debit. Another good thing about betterplace.org is that we actually pay for all the transaction fees. So as you know, if you pay with a credit card, there sometimes are fees that must be paid. Those are fees that betterplace.org pays for. So there's no transaction fee that has to be paid by the social projects themselves. And we also offer on the administration page of the project, we offer donor statistics, donor statistics, analysis and management tools, so you can have a look at who donated and when the donation came in and how much it was. You are able to thank each donor in the administration area. So we have good tools to actually keep in touch with a donor through the platform, but also through the contact dates that you get if the donor is willing to give them to you. And we're also very proud of our support hotline. We have a very good support via phone and via email, Monday through Friday. So whenever you have a question or a doubt or whatever, whenever something's not clear, you can call us, send us an email, and we'll try to help you. And also for nonprofits that are registered in Germany, we have an automatic distribution of the donation receipts, which is a good service for, especially for smaller organizations, because that actually might be a lot of work for them. And so a lot of them are really happy to give that, to not have to deal with that, actually. So that's the introduction to Better Place. And I was asked to give you 3 tips how to realize a successful fundraising campaign. This actually is meant for a fundraising campaign that has a clear goal. So it's not really about constant online fundraising, but if you want to realize certain projects, that's what I would recommend. So first, have a specific and realistic goal. For example, €1,000 for a simple shelter for a family in the Philippines. That's one of the examples we have on betterplace.org. So make it very clear what you need the money for and what you want to build with it, or what to do with it, and have only one specific call to action. In that case, it would be, please donate, for example, €20 to help us build this one shelter in the Philippines. Then the second tip would be to define a specific period of time for your campaign. So we recommend, especially if you're a smaller organization, to have not longer than 6 weeks, because campaigning does take a lot of resources, and so it might be difficult to maintain a campaign over more than 6 weeks. So be sure to define beforehand how long the campaign should be running. And the third tip would be creative. Don't bore your potential donors with long text, and use images and maybe a short video. Because a creative campaign idea is obviously more likely to be shared on social media, etc. And we see that especially with a video. I mean, that's something you all also see with a regular crowdfunding, where they normally have to create a video. So a video, for example, is a great idea. A creative video is a great idea to introduce your project and your campaign to a broader audience. So that was very quick. I hope you learned something about Better Place through that, and I'm later happy to answer questions about the platform or about online fundraising. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, very much. It was very informative and great. We will take the questions later in the first round, but there was one question from the French organization who wanted to know, is it possible for non-Germans to place the projects on your website? Can you just say yes or no, or maybe?
Yes, it's possible for foreign organizations to use Better Place as an online fundraising tool. The main issue is that we cannot provide donation receipts, because that's only for organizations registered in Germany. So that might be a problem, because of course you can use the platform, but if you're a nonprofit registered in France, you would have the problem to not be able to issue. We cannot issue those donations receipts.
So this is more a taxation problem, but theoretically everybody could place a project on Better Place.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you very much, Christina. So we will wait with more questions up until the first round. And now I give the floor to Jochen Schell, who's our next speaker. And Jochen will talk about his personal and professional experience of running and experiencing the campaigns online. Here you go. Jochen, we cannot hear you. No?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Jochen Schell, as Tanja said. I'm the director of the YEPP International Resource Center, and I wanted to share my experience with online crowdfunding, and I have participated in two campaigns on betterplace.org. So I made my experience with the platform, and I can really recommend it. So there's two campaigns I wanted to talk about. And then I give you some tips based on my personal experience. So the first project or campaign was called Sounds from Ghana. That was a project in 2012, which I launched with a social enterprise I had at the time. And Sounds from Ghana was a cultural project, which included a photo exhibition, a documentary film on the traditional music from Ghana. And it also included a children's rights music workshop in Ghana with children from 12 to 16, and I was then studying children's rights. I was doing a master's, and this was part of my thesis. And we campaigned basically to raise 1,500 euros we needed to actually go to Ghana and run this children's rights workshop. So the money was needed for the costs involved, so tickets, but also a sound studio for the workshop, and food for the children who participated in the workshop, and costs related to this workshop. This was a successful campaign. We reached the goal, 1,500 euros, and what we also were very happy about is the video, which was actually created in this workshop. So basically, in this workshop, children learned about children's rights using music as a tool for learning, and they also wrote, composed, and recorded their own children's rights song. And so this was a project, as I said, in 2012, which was a success. And later I give you tips about my experience. And then here's the second campaign we did in 2014, last year, with the YEPPIRC. And here we we raised funds for a workshop, a social entrepreneurship workshop we were organizing in Berlin. It was for 50 young people from communities with few opportunities in 7 EU countries. And here we raised 1,200 euros. We also reached the 100%. And here you can see in the objectives, another objective for us was also, because this was an EU-funded workshop, which we already had funding from the EU, but needed to co-finance it. So there was the objective of money, obviously, but also what we wanted to do with this campaign was to bring this tool of online fundraising, this tool of betterplace.org, closer to the young people, the participants of this workshop, because in the workshop we also basically talked about online fundraising. We even went to betterplace.org here in Berlin and visited them. So we wanted to have a real tangible example, so to speak, for people, so they could see how a project, a campaign can actually evolve, how it looks like, how it can be set up, how you can campaign for it, and how you can basically gain or raise funds for it. So these are the two projects. I can go into questions later if you want, but in terms of useful tips, I wrote down some tips. First, the preparation. I think the preparation is not to underestimate. It is important to identify your target group and also have a strategy on how to reach them. So prepare what kind of media you want to use. So social media, Facebook, Twitter, emails, but also, as Christina presented, there's widgets you can use for your own website. You can also use poster flyers, whatever, but it needs to be prepared, basically. Your campaign needs to be prepared. And target group, of course, if you are very large and you want to reach anyone from young people to old people, you always have to think of who you want to reach and what kind of message you want to put across. And then, of course, make an action plan. If you have a campaign of 6 weeks, I think I had one of 8 weeks, it's good to have a plan for it. So it's useful to have a phase 1 where you decide what are you going to, or who are the people you're going to contact in the phase 1, who are the people in the phase 2, what are the news you want to write to people, and some action plan is, at least for me, was a useful thing to have before actually starting the campaign. Then in terms of presentation, some things have already been mentioned by Christina. I think it's very important that it's an attractive and easy to understand, a project that is easy to understand. So in your text, don't be too long, don't, as Christina said, bore people. Be straight to the point and clear, and make it attractive. And the story is a very important aspect of it. What is important in your story when you tell what is this money for we are raising, it is important to talk about the beneficiaries and how they will benefit from the money. So in Better Place, you have these needs. You have to specify what is the money for. So you can have one need or several needs. For my workshop, for example, we had to specify there's 500 euros for the food of the participants. There's 500 for the renting of the sound studio. We need, etc. So it's important to be specific, and also to really show in your story how beneficiaries benefit from the money. Photos and videos were mentioned. I think it's very important. You see some examples on the slide on the right for the social entrepreneurship workshop, and on the bottom, the workshop we did in Ghana. So it's very important to have nice photos. That's why I put quality photos. I think it's useful to make an effort and have a nice visual presentation of your project. Keep language barriers in mind. I put this because this was important for me personally. I have a lot of friends and also family in French-speaking countries, in Spanish-speaking countries, and for me to be able to reach them, I also had to write my story not only in English but also in Spanish and French, so that when I was contacting people in these countries, the story and the campaign could be understood. So that might not be necessary for every project, but for me it was important. Then during the campaign, what is also very important, because once you have presented or you have set up your profile on Better Place, it's obviously not enough. And what is really the key to your success is the campaign. And first point, be realistic. I also had to learn that I had sometimes I get the impression that people think that once you have your profile set up on on a platform, that people out there in Japan or America just go to Better Place and find you, and it's obviously not this way. The people who are really gonna promote or are gonna help you with your project are very often, or most of them, are the people close to you and people who know you, and that is where you have to be realistic also when setting the objective. Don't put it too high. You can always raise it later, but that was also it's also important point, I think, to not put your objective, financial objective, too high. Then the second point, I called it start with your mom. What I found very important is that you start with your closest family and friends to get the first donations, because before really going into the social media and contacting hundreds of people, I made sure that my project was not at 0%, because it's not attractive to send a campaign and people look at it and see there's 0% funding. So nobody wants to be the first, and therefore I literally asked my mom and other very close friends to put the first 20, 50 euros, so you have at least 5-15% of your objective reached before you send it to the mass mailing. And so that is an important aspect that worked, at least for me. Then send personalized emails and combine it with social media. That's also, again, for me personally, something that worked. Of course, we reach people through social media, but I also had a list, or we had a list in our team of people we wanted to address personally. And these are the people actually who donated most. So it's one thing when you get a general email, you're very likely to click it away. But if somebody addresses you with your name and it is a close friend or whoever, someone you know, it is a very different, it has a very different impact. So personalized emails is definitely a tip I would give to people. Then also give options. So what I also did is to actually literally tell people, look, even 5 euros is enough. Or if you don't have money, you can share this, or you can give a positive opinion. In Better Place, that's possible, where you can write opinions. So whatever it is, one of these three would definitely help our project. So I gave people these options. Then repeat. Don't. Yeah, it won't work if you just send an email once. You have to be repeat the message in the social media, also in the personal emails. That is an important thing, because people, it's not even that people don't want to, but sometimes people forget, or they don't. Yeah, I'll do this later, they think, and then they forget it or whatever. So definitely repeat while you campaign. The news was mentioned by Christina as well. That should be part of your plan, and if there's news which are unforeseeable, definitely repeat your messages or your mailings by giving people news. In my case, for example, we had a high-profile speaker who confirmed for our workshop. So we sent an email. Hi everybody, here's the great news. We have this and this speaker for our workshop. So that is been confirmed today. So great news, blah, blah, blah. So that is something definitely you should keep people up to date with. And then last but not least, don't be shy, be direct. Pushy maybe, but direct and polite definitely. I think some people, or many people, even me included, we are not necessarily or don't feel comfortable with asking money, but I think if you want to make this work, you should not be shy and really ask people for their help, their support, and be direct. I just can give you one small anecdote. The workshop, for example, the workshop in Berlin, the social entrepreneurship workshop, was actually a workshop which was, or the campaign was actually not going very well, and we were already prepared for a failure. So we had maybe 20% reached. And then by chance, somebody on Facebook, a very old friend of mine, contacted me and asked me, so what are you up to? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And so we talked a little bit, and then in the conversation, I told him what I was doing, and I sent him the link of our campaign. And 3 days later, we received an anonymous donation of nearly 900 euros. And that was a very big surprise and made this project basically a success. I found later out that it was him, but it also showed me that, yes, we have to be realistic, and sometimes things fail, but there are sometimes also incredible surprises out there. And it is really also about not being shy and just asking people to do something. Yeah, that's just a little anecdote. This is it from me already. This was very short, and we can go into the questions later, but for now, this is some tips from my personal experience.
Okay, thank you, Jochen. Thank you very much. And now I invite Christina also to turn on your camera again, and for you both to stay online. And we have time for a few questions. So the audience, please, if you have questions regarding to what Jochen was saying or Christina was saying, please use the chat function to type your question. And we have the first question from Vernon Ringland from Belfast. It's our partner from Uzbek International to Better Place. What new innovations Better Place planning out for their platform? So, Christina, can you answer that?
Yes, I can. So right now we are actually working on the fundraising event pages. That's also something you can do at Better Place. It's really popular in the UK and also in America that you, if you have a birthday or you run a marathon, that you ask your friends and family to donate for your favorite project. That's something you can also do with Better Place, and we're actually working on the pages. They're the old fundraising event pages. They're not as nice as we want them to be, so that's something that will be released within the next 2 weeks, a nice design for the fundraising event pages.
Yeah, nice. Good idea. Thank you. So any other questions from yourselves? I have one question from Natalie from Glenwell. Particular campaign is getting traffic but no donations. Can you give suggestion as to why? And she's saying a grassroots sustainable science organization raising money for new platform as we're international community.
I didn't the audio wasn't very clear, so I actually didn't understand it.
It's also written in the chat.
You can also read it in the chat, as Jochen saying. As I understand, the question is about can you give some tips, some recommendations if the campaign is seen by people, so you get the clicks, but you get no bucks. So can you give some tips for that? How to increase the traffic in money, not only the traffic in views?
Yeah, I think it's a very good point what Jochen mentioned, that to make clear that even maybe 2 euros or 5 euros do make a difference. I think that's once people realize it, that even if they donate only 5 euros, it makes a difference. That's something that some people don't understand yet, and it's really important to make that clear so that people actually don't think they have to donate €100, but that they can make a difference with a few bucks.
Okay.
And also sometimes maybe in the middle of the campaign, if you can through a news or through a video, you can make a difference, because that's suddenly then appealing to people, and also if you get a lot of traffic, then it's not a bad news. Maybe you have to continue because it's seen by many, and it's a question of repeating and continue repeating. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. Well, definitely something to think about and try it out, isn't it? Well, thank you, guys. I would suggest that we keep on. Thank you for your answers. There might be some more questions at the end, but now let's continue. And I would like to invite the third speaker of today's panel, Adele, one from Ireland, from Youth Bank International. Adele has done some amazing campaign she will tell you about, but I've seen the pictures. So here you go.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everybody. I'm glad that of that last question, because Christina mentioned a fundraising event page, and that's actually what our experience was of using betterplace.org. So just to say that my name is Adele Maughan, and I work for the Irish Youth Foundation on the Youth Bank programme. So I coordinate Youth Bank across the island of Ireland. And Youth Bank Ireland is a member of Youth Bank International. Back in March, we had this brainwave that we would like to run an international Youth Bank coordinators training school in the autumn. The idea was great, but we had one problem. We didn't have any resources to bring a pool of trainers together. So we hadn't got the resources for flights, for food, for accommodation, and to spend a couple of days basically doing a trainer of trainers. But that didn't stop us, because we said we'd come up with the idea of running a fundraising event. And the event was launched from the west coast of Ireland, and it was a group of people. Basically, they were family and friends of myself. To set up the event, it was to have, basically it was going to be 10 people would get together, and they were going to cycle 100 kilometers, then climb a mountain called Crowpatrick, which is about 800 meters, probably a small mountain in the grand scheme of things, and then cycle back to base again. So that was the idea of the fundraising event. So basically we set about setting up the fundraising event page, and basically anything that would be donated into that page was to feed back then into Youth Bank International for that need of providing the resources for that training of trainers for the Youth Bank International Training School. So that was background to it. So basically, I have a couple of picture slides here, and they're all my tips of the experience of the fundraising event that we set about doing. So the first tip that I would have is just basically spend lots of time on the fundraising platform, whether it be Better Place or whatever platform you decide, on all the background things related into how it works, the mechanics of it, getting familiar with it, setting up your story, your need, your personal reasons for doing your campaign, getting used to the buttons and navigating around the actual platform itself. And that's something that you don't want to be basically caught out with changing and tweaking things sort of midway through the platform. So it's just basically get yourself very familiar with the background of things. And I found my personal experience of using Better Place was fairly straightforward and getting used to that. Basically, the other thing I would say is about spending a little bit of time collecting things well before you launch and make your event live. And what we found useful was to spend lots of time maybe gathering up some pictures, creating little mini profiles of all the people who were going to be involved in that cycle. So you can see on the slide there that all those people, they were involved in this cycle. We got them all Youth Bank International t-shirts, and we were able to have that ready to go, so that people could know straight away by looking at their pictures who was involved in the actual fundraiser. Next slide. So basically, my other piece of advice would be, and I think Jochen had kind of touched on it already, and so was Christina, not to set it too high, but also not to set it too low either. We kind of had a figure in our mind that we would have liked to reach maybe €3,000 to cover the cost of what we thought we'd need for the Youth Bank International Training School. But we're really glad at the same time that we didn't set it too low at something like €1,000, because, you know, we were well able to gain momentum for more than that. And our target was 3,000 and we got 2,450. So at the same time, we weren't too disappointed, you know. And there was other things along the way that we know if we did it the next time, we'd definitely be able to make that target. The other thing I would say is do a practice donation first yourself. So you've done all the little practice through and all the technical bits and you've set everything up in the background, but you want to actually be able to see what it's like for a person to make that donation. So when I did that, it was really helpful because I did my practice donation and I put in my €20 or whatever, and I was able to see, well, what message comes back to me as the donor, and I was able to go back into the background of the platform and change that and maybe word it better and just see exactly what it was like, the experience from the other side of things in making a donation. And then, like Jochen saying, go to your mom first is actually one of my tips as well. It's a really good idea. Basically, you're going to have some colleagues and some well-wishers and some buddies who have said, oh, they know what you're doing and they know you're doing your fundraiser, and they will donate. So before it goes live, I would advise to get a couple of your mates or colleagues to make a donation and get feedback from them then on how easy or straightforward that was. And then based on their feedback, you can get you can make some little tweaks before you launch it. What we found was that if the first couple of people made a certain figure of a donation, so for us, it tended to be €20. And then once it actually did go live, we found that everybody really copied that. So we got, in total, by the end of it, we got 72 donations, which brought us up to €2,450. But we found that the average donation was around €20. So I think if you set sort of the precedent, people will follow. But equally so, we did use social media quite a bit to say, you know, for people who we thought maybe €20 might be too much, that, like Jochen said, there's options. You can donate €5 or €2 or whatever you can will still help us reach our target. So I would advise that all of that kind of happens before you actually make your event live. For us, we found that from the date that we put it live, and the actual fundraiser itself happened 2 weeks later, and we felt that that was about right, because people would, after that 2-week period and 1 more week after the actual fundraising event itself, we found that that was the max we could get out of it. So it might be a little bit different with a campaign versus an actual fundraising event page. We found like that, you know, 2-week period running up to the event plus 1 week after the event was about right for us, and we literally couldn't get one other donation after that period of time. Then once it goes live, basically, it's about, like Jochen said, pushy but polite. So we found that in our experience that every single day, so something during the day and something in the afternoon and something in the evening time, to push it on to Facebook, Twitter, and emails, etc. So for us, our main area that we were able to use was Facebook. And basically, because of all of those people that were involved in the event, they had set everything up to share on their Facebook page as well. So it was basically every time somebody put something on Facebook, they got their friends to share it and share and share and share. So they kept sharing the event the whole time. And then every time I checked, nearly every time something was shared on Facebook, we were getting donations through. And then there was about like maybe a day or 2 days where we just literally like didn't get the chance to do anything with it. And I noticed it had gone really quiet. So like definitely pushy but polite is the way to go. The other thing we found was, so in my naivety, I thought because this was going to be, you know, a joint thing for Youth Bank International, Youth Bank Ireland, I thought that we were going to get donations from all across Ireland, north and south, and I actually thought we were going to get donations from all across the world, but actually in reality, that didn't happen. So that we found that the donations that we got were literally from family and friends of either myself or every single one of the people who took part in the cycle and the climb. So that's definitely something that I suppose for a small scale fundraiser, it's ideal in a way. So for us involved in Youth Bank, for any local Youth Bank site who wants to fundraise, I think this particular method is very useful, very practical, and really it's a dream in a way. It's an administration dream to do it this way. But for us, as a notion of collecting donations from all across the world, that definitely didn't work. So that was one thing that I learned from it. So it's really important to get the message right about what your event is about, but also I suppose my learning from it is people donate to people as much, or if not more so, than the actual campaign or the event itself. I found that even I was pushing I was sharing the links for the Better Place for this on like Messenger and chat and different things like that through Facebook, and I found even relations of mine would have donated from America and Australia and England, and a lot of the times they weren't quite sure of exactly what our Youth Bank International Training School was about, but because they knew who we were and we were doing something really good, they donated. So that was just something interesting. I have this slide up because I found another tip was that when we took a screenshot of the actual fundraising event and how we were getting along with it, it actually incentivized people to donate to us. So people were really keen on, like, you know, looking at the progress bar, and even we found that when people donated, they put little messages up, or we got you to the next 100, or we got you over the 60% line, or we got you to the next 1,500. So we found that that would be a good tip of mine. If you can put that up on Facebook or Twitter, it really kind of helps people visualize where you are in your campaign. And people, you know, they like kind of a little bit of a competitive edge with it. So they like to see that you're getting to the next stage and reaching your target. For the actual fundraising event was really helpful because we could use lots of pictures along the way. So little small videos of how someone's training is going, or you know, where we're up to. We almost had pictures up online of when we were packing our sandwiches for the actual fundraising event. On the day, we were able to take lots of pictures and little small video clips of people on the cycle and pictures of on the mountain. But another tip of mine would be that when the event is over, to definitely Facebook and tweet about it, because there's a certain number of people who will make donations only once they've seen the event take place. So they're kind of like maybe donors who are maybe a little skeptical about, well, actually, is this event taking place or not? And once they see it has, and a success, and all 10 people did the climb and all of that, we actually found we got quite a lot of donations in that last week after the event when they saw that it was complete. So that would be another tip. You see, for us, we found as well, so when I was specifically, when I was emailing out to people, I found over time, some people had communicated back to me about when they made a donation. So especially maybe, you know, if it was a larger donation, maybe over €50, that they said, oh, when we donated, you know, €20, €23 was taken off us. But actually, there is an option that you can say not this time on this particular platform, but it's set to default on 15%. So maybe this is something that Christina could come back in and explain a little bit more. But I found over, you know, my experience of it, when some people came back to me, I thought it was easier to either put that up online or on my email to let people know that, well, actually they can opt not this time option or give a 5% or 10%, but maybe, as I said, Christina could explain a little bit where that goes. The next slide. And I think, yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. And now we have 5:00 p.m. in Berlin, and we actually said that it would be the time when this webinar should end. However, we have one more speaker, and I would like the audience to stay with us for 10 more minutes and listen to Emir from Bosnia, who will present their story from Bosnia, from small community in Tuzla. What's the Bosnian experience with crowdfunding is, how did it work or not? And then we will have the final round for questions, and we have a few questions to the speakers. So now I allow myself to continue for 10 more minutes, and I give the floor to Emir. Thank you, Emir.
Thank you, Tanya, so much. I hope everybody can hear me. So I'll be able to speak in 10 minutes about our two campaigns. The first one, as you can see on a slide, it's a Be a Hero in Your Community. So it was happening during 2014. So the idea was to use betterplace.org as a platform for crowdfunding, online crowdfunding, but also we used the catapult.ba as a Bosnian national crowdfunding platform. And we started to using both of it. But also, speaking about crowdfunding, it is not just about online things. We were doing crowdfunding in the field, speaking with our parents, friends, families, relatives, etc. I have to tell you that we started to using betterplace.org as a crowdfunding platform for international donors. So we thought that the Bosnians living abroad will donate money via Better Place, and we used catapult.ba as a Bosnian national crowdfunding platform for Bosnians. Why we used both of it? Because the catapult was on Bosnian language, and we thought that Better Place will invite also foreigners. Unfortunately, we couldn't manage anything to do with Better Place. Honestly, because in first 15 days of the campaign, we saw that we are so much better in a field in Bosnia, meaning directly speaking with people to people, eye to eye. And so Better Place, we collected only, I think, 25 or 30 euros. The reach was 2,000 euros. And in Catapult, the reach was 1,000 euros, and we managed to collect 75% of the money. And unfortunately, because the rules of the Catapult.ba was, if you do not collect or you do not reach all of the wanted money, then you will not get any of it. So the donors who gave money and we didn't reach the 1,000 euros, they give it back. Unfortunately, as I told you, this crowdfunding platform online didn't make it, but Be a Hero community really make it, because we collected more than, I will tell you, 25, it was more than 5,000 individuals in Tuzla region. It is around 60,000 people. So 5,000 people donated 5 euros, and we also mobilized 25 businesses around Tuzla area. So it was great campaign, but unfortunately, we saw that online crowdfunding either is not so popular in Bosnia, because people like to give money from the pocket to the pocket, or we didn't use all our capacities in a sense to promote all these things on the platform. What we done it, and I told today to Johan, what we done it, we used all social medias instead to promote, and we have 2 videos. But nevertheless, I would just like to invite you to speak about Labyrinth. That's the new fundraising campaign, which we did in 2015. So all of this, what I was talking about here in your community, it was in 2014. We made it, as I told you, but not online, unfortunately. So in 2015, we started with we didn't use crowdfunding platforms anymore because we saw that people really like to give money to Tuzla Community Foundation and the people who are working in Tuzla Community Foundation, but also to volunteers. And that is the biggest capital of foundation that has very motivated young people who are able to pass over the idea or the need of the fundraising campaign. That's also what happened in Be a Hero of Your Community. So I'll just ask Tanya to put the video on, the first video. Yes, this is the like invitation for people to fundraise before the video. I'll just like before video. Okay, can you just a little bit stop? Okay, I will stop it. Can you stop it? All right. So the Labyrinth is the fundraising campaign, and foundation wanted to run this campaign in order to help the youth organization to have its own training youth house, and the reach was 15,000 euros at the beginning. So we can watch it now. Sana de dođe Arsen i Azo, molim te. I reci nek mene ne zove.
Hello.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So as you can see, there are 3 tips, if I can say, for yes, of course. So there are three tips. The first tips, if we are fundraising for young people, they should be young people, very active, showing their capacities, creativity, etc. The second thing, what for we are fundraising. So as you can see, we needed toilets, we needed rooms, chairs, beds, carpets, etc. And the third one is how people can donate. And at the end, the fourth very important thing is to show people, to the public, but also to those people who donated money, to show them the effects, to show them the result of their donation. So I will just invite Tanya to put the last video on. So everybody could just subtitle them. So in the last 16 minutes, I will just say that we managed to invite more than 350 individuals who gave money, more than 5 businesses, 2 international organizations, and 4 local NGOs. So it was really a great fundraising campaign, but also what I wanted to say is that we always use these videos and publish it on social media in sense to invite people. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Emir. Thank you very much for your input and showing us how it worked for you in a little bit different way, so not online, but also offline. And this is the end of the presentations of the speakers and the possibility to ask them questions. Now, audience, it's your turn. And I invite all the 4 speakers to appear on the screen and turn on your cameras so that people can see you. And yeah, maybe they have then more questions. And anyway, we have one question from Team Jarnet from Salt Elbels, who has a question to all the speakers. It's actually, well, one big general question. You might see and read it as speakers on your chat window too, but I will also read it aloud. So do you think it's enough to make a really strong and engaging case for the need, or do potential donors need to see clear details of how the money will be spent? So what do you think about that?
Can I say something? Yeah.
Yes,
please. I think it's very important to specify what, if I understand the question right, what the money will be spent on. And in terms of proving how you spend that money, I think obviously you don't have to submit any financial receipts or documents. It's all about trust, but it's also about telling the story and documenting what you do. So photos, videos and showing, if you said we're going to build a playground with that money, to actually make photos of the playground and or the process of building it, and documenting and sharing it is a way of showing how you spend the money. And I think it's a lot based on trust. I don't know if I answered correctly, and if
okay. And Emir, what do you think about that? So
well,
you said that showing the toilets was also important to make clear what the money is going to be used for. So what do you think?
Yeah, I already told in my presentation. So the first thing is to present what is a need of the project, why we are fundraising. The second one, what for we are going to use money, and at the end, the results. So I would say the both are so important. And the very important thing is be simple, be clear. Don't use the words where people are, rather don't use like NGOs words. Use very simple words, and people will definitely donate money.
Okay, thank you. More questions from the audience? No? Team says thank you. Okay.
Yeah, we saw it.
Well, then, if there are no questions, then we call it a day for now. And I would like to say at this point that this webinar is being recorded. So you all will be able to hear the webinar and make it available if you want to share it with your friends or colleagues. You will have the possibility to do so. We will send you the link in our emails. And also we'll ask you a few questions then. How did you like this first experience of ours doing it? What other topics would you be interested in? And we will make some little survey to know how we can meet the needs of our audience, of our circles. I hope that all of you who participated as audience and also as speakers will take something away from it. Either it's a tip, people donate to people, build your community, start with your mom, your dad, your colleague, or grab someone in the street and explain to him in 5 seconds why your cause is so important to you. Or if you are thinking what is the amount of money I want to fundraise, you also might think, don't set your target too high and stay realistic, and don't be too disappointed if you don't get 100%. You also use social media and know that every penny, every cent, kuna or hrivna counts for making you succeed with your cause. And this is just a few things I personally noted and I take away, and I'm sure there's much more. So I think this is all for now. And I want to say thanks a lot to Youth Bank International for great collaboration and getting us the speakers, and also promotion in worldwide to get audience. This is just the first step, and we will certainly do more things together, but also maybe separately as YEPPIRC and as Youth Bank International. And thank you all, everybody who's been with us on air tonight. Yeah, have a nice evening, morning, or day, wherever you are. And thank you to the speakers very much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Also.
bye, bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, bye.
Bye, bye.